Hi guys, welcome to my channel itcareer Talks.
Part of Salesforce training. And sorry guys that it became late in posting YouTube videos due to personal issues. So moving ahead today, as a part of our day 8 of free Salesforce developer, I mean to say admin or developer learning. So today we are looking for on day 8, we do hands-on for lookup relationship. As a part of a recap, in day 7, just I have given you an idea what do you mean by relationship, what is the primary object, what is the secondary object. If you're not done with that, yeah, you can just have a look on day 7. So as a part of learning, whoever a new beginner of Salesforce, they can start from day 1 of my videos till day 7. You can just follow one by one video to get an idea in Salesforce, and after that parallelly you can work on Trailhead to master the Salesforce. So here today's video we'll learn about the lookup relationship. So as a part of a day 7, we have gone through this. Now day 8, we'll talk about lookup relationships. So as I said, relationship is a connection between two objects. So when I say about lookup, that means it's a loose relationship. That means if you have two objects and you are connecting together, so if without any something like a bonding, then it is called a lookup relationship. So here, as a part of a requirement in this practical learning, I have one object professor. I have one object for student, and these are all objects we have created for the DCU university application which we are creating. So as I just log into my Salesforce, and when I go to setup with object manager, just I'm finding out the objects I have already created. So the objects which have created for the university application is student, DCU student, as well as DCU professor. So the same you can repeat in your org as well. So you can see here I have created the professor, and here the student is fine. So I want to create the relationship between these two, but before, when any objects we are connecting and we are thinking what relationship to take exactly, so it depends on requirements. If two objects to be strongly bonded, then we go for master detail, and if it is loosely bonded, then we go for lookup. So today we are just going for the lookup. So how to create the lookup relationship is go to secondary object. So I told you what do you mean by primary and secondary. Secondary with a means one to many. One is a primary and many are the secondary objects. So go to secondary objects. So here professor is the primary and student is the secondary. So go to secondary object and click on fields and relationships. Here you can find the new, right? So you click on the new, and we need to create the relationship on secondary object that you remember. So here secondary object is student. So I go to the student, and here there it is, lookup relationship. You click on this and you click on next. So what it's asking about, to which object you want to relate it. Actually, the student, I want to relate it to the corresponding parent, which is the professor. So I do this, I click that professor, and I'll click on the next. So, and the label, what like exactly means how the label should look, that you can type it here. And this is the name, just what you want to refer with. And what is the child relationship name that you want to keep it. If you have already, then you can just keep it as a default, and you click on next. And by default, right now make it visible. That we'll discuss in coming days on security. And you could say click on next, and you say save. So yes, we have successfully created one relationship. See here, you can see the lookup for the with the professor. So that means secondary object, the student, I'm creating a relationship with the professor. So how, why, what is the use? That if you ask it, just you can duplicate that and you go to the corresponding application where you have created the objects. So here I'm doing the project, you can say, for the DCU University. So you click on the 9 dots, you say DCU, or you can say view all and just check for your application. See, I'm creating the application for this Dublin City University. So there how I open the application, and you can see the here the objects. And if you want to add any object, because I want to add professors as well here, so you can just click on this edit button and you find for the professors. If you have any, add more items. If you want, you can search, you can say all, and you find for DCU professors. Sometimes just check here, probably where it is, or you can search. Sometimes this won't be visible because if we make that object with the tab, whether if we didn't create, then it won't be seen here. So just to check that, go to click on tabs here, go to setup. These are the debugging we need to do whenever any in Salesforce. It's like based on requirement, whether if we're not meeting, then we need to just have some debug sessions to go on. So click on type tabs and see whether the tab I have created for the professor. If it is not, then it won't be visible in the tab section. So you check for the tabs. Um, yeah, here I can see here professors that I have given, but there is no DCU professor tab. So that is the issue. That's why we couldn't see there. Then what you can do is just you say new. I want to create one tab for the professor object. So this creating the tab, adding to menu, these all I have shown in my previous videos. So here, DCU professor, you try to write the description and you say next. If you want, you can just pick up any picture and say next. Yeah, it is by default, the tab we want to be displayed by default when an application is opened. So you save it. So that means, yeah, we have successfully created the tab, and now just go to the corresponding. We see this is a university application. You just refresh it and see now whether that tab is added or not for the professors. So you can see here, see now here this is created, right? So that means that was the issue, that we didn't create the tab for that created object. So if it is not seen, then you can go here with edit and you can add it. So what I mean to say is here you have DCU professors, we have a DCU students, so we want to relate it together. So go to the corresponding secondary object, which is a student, and here I want to create the relationship. So go to the corresponding secondary object and click on, because it is also a field, right? Relationship. Okay, so go to the fields and relationships on the corresponding object, and you say new. So you can see here when you go to that object and you click on fields and relationships, and here you can see new, right? So you click on that new and select the lookup relationship option. So here you can see here this one. You click on that and you say next. See what it is related. This is a student object. I want to assign for the corresponding student who is the assigned professor. So that is the requirement actually. So there is already a field named DCU professor on DCU student. So what do you mean by that? It means to say that we already have that. So let me check whether I have already created. See, this is already there for, that's why that is the issue. So for you guys to show again, just I'm deleting that. Okay. So now we don't have any relationship. So now we try to create a new one. So create on the new, click on the new button and click on lookup relationship and you say next and you say what is the object you want to connect it for. I'm saying the student object student should be assigned to a corresponding professor. You go to that professor and you say next. So you type the corresponding name, the head text, and what is the relationship name you want to display. And as usual, make it give the access to all. You add it to the layout and say next and save. So guys, that is, see, you can see here, it's already one lookup relationship is created. That you can see from here, from the GUI. Just go to the DCU students, okay, and make sure whether you have the data in the professors. See, we don't have any data in the professors. Hence, you try to create the professor name, and as more fields you can create. Just as a part of a demo, I'm creating on the professor name. I can say just you create 3-4 records of a professor's list. And here in professor, actually, we can have a field, extra field, something like what subject he's teaching. In that way, we can create our own fields and relationships. Okay. So you can create what is the faculty, subject, and what is like Mr. or Miss to select, and all these things we can do it. Okay. So this how just you add it, few records for the professors, and I can say so. Okay, so these are the records. So now the requirement is when I just go to students and when I'm creating the new record or I'm creating the older one. So just if I'm creating a new record for the student, think that he has joined new, one student has joined, maybe John. Okay, so what was the amount she's paying? So in euros, and yeah, she is a local student. And you remember I have told you all that discount the fees and all, what is the year she's studying, and there it comes the professor, the lookup relationship. That means for this student, which professor to be assigned for. So I can say for Jessica, just I want to assign Professor John, right? So probably John may be teaching psychology or something like that. Things you can add it in the professor object, but you are assigning with the student. This is the lookup relationship. So you are assigning for so and so student, so and so professor. In that way, we can add this how we have successfully created the relationship between student and the professor. So yes, we can edit it. Just you cross this and you can find here all the records of our professors where you can assign to one student. So this is the new student we have created. We like already we can have a previous students which already have the records, but here we didn't previously we didn't have any records of professor. I didn't create, that's why it's empty. So you can assign for every student one professor. This is how it goes for the lookup relationship. And here it's like why I said it's loose relationship is because if you think that like when you go to professors, think that probably Elizabeth, maybe she has resigned from the university DCU. Okay. So that means there is no meaning of I keeping this record, right? So HR, probably the admin people, they try to delete the record of Elizabeth. Fine. So when you just delete the record of Elizabeth, means that professor is not available in the current university. So what about the students who were assigned with Elizabeth? Fine. So if that is the case, then what it happens? Like, see, now that Elizabeth record has been removed from here. Fine. So that means it's like if any professor is deleted or he's away or he's resigned from the university, then what we can do, like for the corresponding students, you can assign any other professor to the corresponding student. So this how some loose relationship is available for the student and for the professor. So what happens if you delete one record? So that means to say for William, I have created Harry as the professor. Okay. So when you remember this, just go to William record of a student and see like Harry is the professor. Fine. So think that when you go to the professors and when the Harry is also resigned from DCU, so that means there is no meaning of keeping it. We delete the record of the Harry. So what about the William student who is assigned Harry as the professor, right? But we have deleted the professor record of Harry. So when we just go to students and see for the William, exactly who is the professor. See, you can see here, previously it was Harry, but because we have deleted the record of Harry, we can see empty, nothing is assigned. So then we should go here and the admin people, they try to assign any other professor. So this how like a lookup relationship works. If you want to have any requirements of a loose relationship, and also one thing, and also the security, these all things are not related to each other. They have their own security, means permissions and all will be applied corresponding objects on their own. They are not related together, but they are just in a relationship with a loose loose sort of connection in between. So this is how the lookup relationship works. And when you just see the content here, when you see the content here, so this how we have created successfully loose relationship. So parent is not mandatory in this case. Okay, either if you delete it also, we have seen in practical, we can assign to any other parent. And also deleting parent, it is not affecting a child. Even child is not getting deleted. And one of the interview questions is how many or relationships we can create on one object. So further lookup, how many lookup relationships we can create on one object is, and the answer is 40 relationships we can create on one object. So in relationships, in the interview point of view, they can ask from either lookup or master detail. So they can ask whether the security is it related with for the two objects. We have to say that there is no relation related to corresponding permissions. Either two objects have their own permissions. So that is the answer we need to go. So here in the practical today here, we have created the professor and the student, and we have created the relationship between these two, the lookup relationship, and that relationship that we have created on the secondary object. So this is the I think today's class about lookup relationship, and in next video I'll post you on day 8 probably on master detail relationship. So hope you're understanding the class, and let me know in case if you have any questions related to any practical things you are facing.